I'll just tell you, we've been to the bottom of the oceans, we've been to ancient Greek mythology, we've been to the past and the future of Flash, into the digital world with Cyborg. We still got to go to space. So the Green Lanterns and the Green Lantern Corps will be coming to join the Justice League universe.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. Huge news. DC just announced what's going on going forward post Justice League. So obviously we have Green Lantern Corps. Geoff Johns is going to be writing and producing that himself because he recently just quit his job as Chief Creative Officer and took up a job more like Greg Berlanti, developing TV shows and movies for Warner Brothers. So I know this is huge news, like you probably read all the news releases like saying that he's stepping down from his position. Basically what's going on is that he's like a new Greg Berlanti person. He gets to write, he gets to do DC movies now, so he gets a huge pay increase, and they just announced what all the big projects he's going to be working on for start. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the DC videos. There's a new round of that Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. But the big deal is they just started shooting Wonder Woman 2. There's like this retro-looking parking lot. We're calling it Wonder Woman 84 because that's the teaser that they released. Like, Wonder Woman 84, what's going on with that? Like, we know that Cheetah's going to be in it. We know it's going to be set during 1984. But we'll continue to see stuff from behind the scenes, so we'll get an idea for what's actually going on. So right now, they're just shooting scenes in Washington, D.C., set during 1984. But what's happened behind the scenes at DC Entertainment since all the Justice League fallout happened is that basically the executives have either been shuffled into other positions, they've been fired, or they've resigned. So like just a little while ago, the former president, Diane Nelson, resigned. Like, I'm gonna go seek other challenges. That's code for fallout from all the movies that didn't pan out the way that they wanted them to. So it's like, okay, we're gonna put new executives in power, try a new slate of films. Geoff Johns is just gonna get to be the person to actually create the Green Lantern Corps movie. It'll be like his baby now, which I think makes sense. Like, we all probably wondered why Geoff Johns wasn't doing more of this himself anyway. But in addition to the Green Lantern Corps movie, he gets his own sub-imprint the way that Bendis does on a lot of big comic book labels. Like, Marvel created a special label for him to keep him exclusive at Marvel, but he just came to DC, so Geoff Johns gets a version of that too. The actual name for it is pretty hardcore. It's called The Killing Zone. The name of his production company that's going to be producing all these DC TV shows and movies is called Mad Ghost, which actually sounds pretty cool. The TV shows that he's developing, you've already heard about. I've already been doing videos about those. So Titans, he created and he's personally writing on. He also created Doom Patrol. Like, I've already explained how the Doom Patrol is going to debut on Titans, and they're going to spin off to their own show. They'll start shooting Doom Patrol this summer. It'll be 13 episodes just like Titans, but it probably won't premiere till next year, depending on how fast things move along. The quote that he released actually just reads, "I took a role at DC Entertainment because I love the characters and I love the universe more than anything, but I want to spend my days writing and on set. I'm thrilled to get back in a more hands-on creative role. It's a dream job with dream projects reaching even deeper into DC's vast pantheon of characters." So it sounds like what the situation was when he was still Chief Creative Officer is that he just had an oversight role and they didn't let him write or work on any of the movies in a really big way. Some of the articles that have been talking about this also say that he clashed very loudly with DC management about the films, particularly Diane Nelson. So I don't know what kind of drama there was behind the scenes when they were making all these movies for the last like 5 or 6 years. But whatever it was, it sounds like Geoff Johns wasn't allowed to actually do any real work. Now, there was the Batman script that he wrote with Ben Affleck a long time ago. Remember where Deathstroke was going to be the main villain? That's when they brought Joe Manganiello on, and I think it was going to be a bigger thing. I think it's common knowledge now that part of the deal that Matt Reeves got when they hired him was that he got to do his own script. So like whatever it was that Geoff Johns and Ben Affleck did with that Deathstroke character, like that movie is just on a shelf somewhere now. Maybe they'll make it down the road, but we know that they're making a Deathstroke movie with Gareth Evans. That's actually been delayed. So if you've been looking forward to that, you're going to have to wait for a while longer. But Joe Manganiello's still attached, so it's still going to happen. You're just going to have to wait a little while longer to see it. But it sounds like Green Lantern Corps is going to get fast-tracked a little bit now. So for all of you who've been waiting to see a really badass Green Lantern movie, now is our opportunity. But they're saying that he's just writing and producing it, so that means that he's not going to direct. But because it's his baby, he'll probably get to pick who the director is himself. So I wouldn't expect to hear too much about that this year. Usually, I mean, it takes about a solid year to get a really good script for a movie out. Originally, I think it was going to be 2020 when they were planning on releasing it. It was still going to be like way down the road. They wanted to put some distance between Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. I'm sure Ryan Reynolds wants that too. But as far as we know, it's still going to be the Lethal Weapon type story with an older Hal Jordan and a younger Jon Stewart. They just haven't cast any of the characters yet, but I'm sure that like every actor in Hollywood is up for it.
The shit. Now, we both know why I was transferred. Everybody thinks I'm suicidal, in which case I'm fucked and nobody wants to work with me. Or they think I'm faking to draw a psycho pension, in which case I'm fucked and nobody wants to work with me. Basically, I'm fucked.
Guess what?
What?
I don't want to work with you.
Really cool inside baseball detail. Geoff Johns got his start in Hollywood working for Richard Donner, who was the person who did the Lethal Weapon series. But if you saw that video of Geoff Johns with Kevin Feige, because for a little while we were hoping that Geoff Johns would become the Kevin Feige of DC, Kevin Feige got his start in Hollywood around the same time as Geoff Johns, also working for Richard Donner.
You remember this? The first time I ever went to Comic-Con. You and I were in the office. It was slow time. I had been hired by Marvel but hadn't officially left to go work there yet. And it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday or something. And we got into his Jeep and drove down to San Diego. Yeah. And then you stayed because you knew some comm people there, and I drove your car back up.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
What you've done is insane, and I love watching it because it's so phenomenal, and I love it all. But I love it because I remember when you built that shed on top of your apartment building. I didn't even know if that was legal, but you built that.
Me neither. I didn't ask for a permit. What did I put in that shed?
Star Trek figures?
Toys.
Yeah.
So it's just the funny situation where you have two of the most powerful comic book producers in Hollywood getting their start under the same shingle. So when we talk about Lethal Weapon, Green Lantern, it's just like bringing it full circle for Geoff Johns if they wind up keeping that motif. The funny thing about this too, if you're a big fan of Geoff Johns' Rebirth and you really like what he's doing with Doomsday Clock, they're saying that his executive position at DC Entertainment while he was chief creative officer kept him from writing more comic books. The first big comic book projects that he's working on are going to be a Shazam story, which I don't think is going to have anything to do with the Shazam movie. It'll just be a Shazam story. And then the story about the 3 Jokers that he teased back during Rebirth. If you wonder what happened with that, because they teased that there are actually 3 different Jokers that exist in the DC universe, it sounds like he was just too busy with his executive duties day to day to actually work on that. So now he'll just have the opportunity to do that. He also helped co-create the Flash TV show. I would be down for him to take over that, but technically that's Greg Berlanti's show. So I think that's why you're seeing a little bit of separation between the DC streaming service shows that Geoff Johns is developing and all the CW DC TV shows. But because he is like a king of really big crossovers, I wouldn't throw out the idea of any kind of crossover happening down in the future. I think it just depends on how things go with them launching this DC streaming service. And now that he's taken this new role, they've announced everything, it's probably been in the works for a while. He's probably been waiting till Comic-Con to make like a lot of really big announcements about what's going on, drop footage for everything, particularly Titans. I've already done a video about that because we found out when they're actually launching all that stuff, so I'll link that video at the end of this. So just leave all your video requests in the comments below. We'll find out more about Aquaman at Comic-Con too. I think because we haven't seen footage yet, they're just really waiting for Comic-Con. I'll be doing videos for the Sony stuff at E3 later tonight, like Spider-Man PS4, Last of Us 2, that stuff. That'll happen later tonight. So while you wait for that, click here to learn about when that DC streaming service and Titans is launching, and then click here for other brand new Avengers. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.